cold restart here. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy JT, and I know we had some difficulties earlier. We had the stream going earlier. Someone basically turned my internet off 10 minutes in, so we are just going to quickly gloss over everything again. But this is the first ever episode of the Pioneers of Sport podcast, where we're talking all things sport. We're talking football, we're talking fighting, we're talking everything. But what a great first episode we will have. We are going to be covering the Americanization of the beautiful game, more specifically the English game, and how it's going to affect European football, especially with the looming FFP changes that are going to be occurring. And what a first guest I do have with me. We're talking about Americanization of football, so I thought it was right. I got an expert on the field in Bhargav, an American himself, knows all about the sport, all about the American sports, all about the English sports and how it could change. And he has a lot of information that could potentially be very, very, very interesting if you are a Leeds fan, as into how the 49ers will invest into Leeds. Sebastian, how are you, my man? So, without further ado, how are you, Bhargav?
Man, hi everybody in the chat. Thanks for having me today. I'm excited to talk some good football.
Yeah, we were talking some good football. Did kind of mess up a little bit, but we're back now. And basically, the first thing we were talking about before was Victor Orta. We were talking about small squads. He said he wants to keep a small squad with Leeds. He said, basically, in other words, I don't want to spend £500 million on one player. I'd rather cultivate £51 million players. I'd rather cultivate youth players in and then buy a couple of half-decent players. The question is, does that work in the modern game?
Yeah, we were just getting into that, about quality and stuff. How much quality do you need, and how many squad members do you actually need?
Yeah.
And I think we were having a good debate about that, and for me, I said four. I feel like you need quality in 4 spots for big games. I feel like you do need an overall squad of 15, 20.
Yeah.
Just to compete week in, week out in the Prem.
Mm-hmm.
Is that about right? Or
15 to 20, nah, see, this is the thing. 15 to 20 top players. You were telling me before, basically, you think you need a few top players and the rest you can kind of...
Oh, for the biggest games, yeah. For the biggest games, yeah.
You said 4. You said 4, there wasn't it? That was your
cutting edge players, yeah. You need 4. I feel like you need 4 cutting edge players.
Well, you see, this is where I differ. I think you need a hell of a lot more than 4, because we'll talk about it again. We're looking at... Yeah, but we're looking at a team like Newcastle, a club like Newcastle finally get their investment that they've been after. And what do they do in their first window? They go and splash just shy of 100 million. You look at City, who have the ability to put Kevin De Bruyne on the bench weekly, Raheem Sterling on the bench weekly, the ability to litter their club with top quality players. You look at other clubs like Chelsea, who have done the same. You know, they have a couple of years where they're underachieving a little bit. Bang, let's splash 200 million and go and win the Champions League. Bang, let's go and splash 100 million pounds on Lukaku and put him on the bench. Bang, let's splash 72 million pounds on Kepa Arrizabalaga and get rid of him in a couple of years because he's not good enough. You know, these are how you get consistent strings at the top. That's why it's no wonder why a club like Chelsea have been at the pinnacle of English football for the past 10 to 15 years. City have for the past 9 years. Liverpool, who have done it on more of a shoestring budget, you could say, have only been at the top for 4 or 5 years, and even then it's struggling, and it's looking like that if they're not very smart with their money, it could come crumbling down at their feet. They had to have the season of their lives just to compete with City and run them close. Well, what do you think about the matter?
Listen, I get that, but those teams are 2-3 years into that process. If you're starting a new team tomorrow, I think you need 4 cutting edge players just to survive in the league. You definitely need some quality just to stay in the league.
Yeah, but what about pushing towards Europe? Do you not think if we don't do it within a couple of years, is it going to work in the long run?
You need a full squad for that. Otherwise, otherwise those 15 players are playing every single week, and those the work demands of that is incredible. Insane actually. It's hard to do that without a full squad with Europe. So if you're trying to go for Europe, you definitely need at least like 20 players, 25.
Yeah, but like I said, you were talking about Arsenal, who, as we were saying before, took advantage of the franchise of the Premier League. The Premier League became a
Yeah,
massive franchise. You guys managed to capitalize on that. A club like Leeds didn't manage to capitalize that. So we have revenue coming in, yes, but we don't have as much revenue. So to be able to get up to a level of an Arsenal who don't have to spend that they have one summer where they splash the cash, and the other ones they kind of built the squad up a bit, and they have the ability to bring you through because they already have such a stable level of revenue. They already have a big stadium. It can work like that. But for a club trying to burst in, do you think it's even possible with the Leicester City model? Because look at where they are now.
I mean, for me personally, I look at it. I'm like, it depends on what your like local development is like. And you look at the players and like how they're developing. I think that plays a huge role. And if they fit the system well, and like they're coming up okay, their development is gonna be massive. No matter how much money you spend, like that has to be like a forefront. Any club.
Yeah.
It really does depend on that.
But okay, so it's funny. So we're talking about this mass investment. There was an investor that was linked with Leeds, obviously QSI. He was friends with our owner, Andrea Radrizzani. Yeah. So there was a lot of talks of QSI potentially taking over Leeds, and in the process, splashing all the cash, getting us back to European glory where we want to be. Instead, we've got the 49ers. Now, what it looks like from the outside is that the San Francisco 49ers are going to follow more of the Leicester City model. They don't have the money that the Saudis or the Qataris, these nations that are buying football clubs, they don't possess that kind of money. So what do you expect that we could have with the 49ers? Do you think that they will spend more than we'd expect? You know, because we make quite a bit of money, Leeds, with it. We revenue-wise, we make like the 21st amount of revenue or 21st richest revenue stream in football, in European football.
No, so like I don't think it's like that. I feel like, all right, so I'm gonna put it this way. Like I think you guys are way better off like than the Kroenke owners. You guys got innovation. I feel like San Francisco, like if you've never been there, like it's a big tech hub. People are very innovative and they're very like look for solutions for things. So I think I got good owners with that culture, coming from that culture. I'll give you an example, right? Like, I mean, the Golden State Warriors, NBA-wise, obviously like different sports, but like that team used to be terrible, man. That team used to be very terrible. But last like decade or so, like that team has grown and developed, and a lot of that has to do with like the ownership group there. They're very innovative. Like they look for solutions for things, and just the way like San Francisco has gone. Like I think you guys have like good owners, like willing to invest.
Yeah, but how are they innovative? What is it about San Francisco 49ers or San Francisco?
It's just a culture. Like it's a different vibe. I mean, compared to Miami, compared to other cities, like you go there, it's like very intellectual. It's hard to describe. It's like it's just if you're around good people, like looking for solutions. It's just one of those things.
Yeah, but what about squad-wise? Do they invest a lot of their money on their squads? Because you look at other American owners that basically use it as a way of generating revenue and using that revenue towards their other clubs. Is that a fear that we should be concerned with as Leeds fans?
No, absolutely not. I feel like if they're coming there, they're gonna want to win.
They're gonna want to win. Is that something they showed in the past in the 49ers?
Yeah, they're gonna want to win, or like they're definitely gonna like look for like ways to like make sure like it's a good product.
And at the 49ers, how much like in their squad wise? Obviously, can you tell me about how it works in American football buying squads, or educate the people, because a lot of people won't be aware.
The thing about American sports is like there's a draft, and then like everybody, like all the players are like there, right? Like they're there, like they're getting paid and stuff like that. Thing is, the thing that's different is like it's not like in England where like every player you can pay a certain amount to like somebody else like get the player. You have to do trades, so you're kind of stuck in that system. So basically, like if you're part of a team, like you gotta work out deals to kind of get somebody to your team, kind of thing. So it's very different. Like I mean, it's very different in that sense. Like for example, like in the UK, it's kind of interesting because like sometimes even players with full contracts, they can still like look for other places, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the U.S., it's not the same. Like, I mean, you gotta look for trades, like, and you gotta look for like ways to like make it work with other teams, kind of
So
thing.
do you have to trade your best player and kind of revolutionize it every few years? Would you say that's a fair thing?
Exactly. The only great, the good part about that is like, I'll put it this way, like, and this is something like U.S. versus U.K. I kind of like wonder is you have to like be very innovative with the solutions. Like, you're not teams not going like completely bankrupt like in the UK, right?
Mm-hmm.
For example, some clubs go into like administration,
Yeah.
right? Because they spend so much, and they
Because
can't like
there's
get out of it.
relegation. Yeah.
In the US, you gotta kind of match the salaries. You gotta like you gotta get like equal parts or some way that like is something for the future in a sense, and you gotta make it all work in that. You gotta make it work like for like. That's why it's so hard sometimes.
That's another thing, though. There's no relegations in American sports. In
Oh
the
yeah, yeah,
UK, the difference in monetary value in the Premier League and the Championship is
Oh, hands down.
staggering. It's
Oh,
staggering.
it's very
So
staggering.
you look at clubs who are very cautious with their spending because they don't want to risk going down and then losing that investment. Do you think that's something that they will have to take into account, or are they a club? Because you see some clubs in America that basically once the season halfway through is done, they're like, oh, let's just like they're not doing well, they're not going to make a title charge, so they're like, oh, let's sack it in, get a good draft pick, and then go again next season. Obviously, with
I get
Leeds,
that.
it's not a possibility, with these English
Oh, I get
clubs.
that. I get that because like I feel like if you're a team on the lower end, like you're always worried about that possibility, right? I mean, no matter who it is. Thing is though, I feel like with Leeds, I think you guys just had a bad season of injuries. I think you guys are way better than what the table shows.
Mm-hmm.
Quality in your team, so they're in a good situation to work with that this year.
But obviously, okay, so with the 49ers, they sent over the big man, they've sent over Parag Marathi, president of the 49ers and now executive vice president of football operations. He's been at the 49ers for what was 20 years. I believe I have the thing here. Yeah, here it is. He spent more than 20 years working in the front office for the San Francisco 49ers. Currently serves as their president and is now executive vice president of football. And what it looks like in a few years, he is going to be taking over the helm and probably getting rid of the likes of Victor Orta, Angus Kinnear, and obviously Andrea Radrizzani. Hello, lads. Hello, James. I believe Parag was here versus Tottenham. Same day with Bielsa's sack. Did he have a say? I think he did. I think the 49ers had a massive say, and I think people haven't really taken into account the say that they have. Bremner's Ghost, how are you, my boy, by the way? Shame the 49ers bottled the Super Bowl. Hey, James. Melina, how are you? And Sebastian, my boy. But yeah. Parag Marathi, he's come over. He probably has had quite a say. And when you look at other American owners, you look at the Cronkies, for example. The Cronky uses your club, Arsenal. He uses it as a way of peddling money to generate it and use it towards his American ventures, whether it be buying multi-million pound ranches over in the States, whether it be moving the Raiders across the city into new stadiums, what seems like every 4 or 5 years. What can you tell me about Marathi or Parag Marathi? Does he strike you as someone that would kind of use Leeds as an opportunity? Oh, why is it? It's gone silent here. Can I hear you? Oh no, hang on a second. I think it's pronounced Marath, not Marathi. Sorry, mate. I can't actually hear you. I cannot hear you, fella. I don't know why. Is my audio glitching? I can't hear a thing. I can't actually hear you, mate. One sec. Let me see. Yeah, I can hear myself. I just can't hear you.
Hello.
Oh, there we go. Now I can hear you.
Oh, all right, perfect.
Yeah.
No, like, listen, like, to answer your question, I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things, like, I mean, you always look at, like, education, you look at, like, the way they develop. I feel like he's a sports guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's, like, he's taken up cricket, he's taken up, like, other stuff. No, obviously, like, like, the guy's actually brilliant, man. I mean, some of the people you have like management wise, like they're not the Cronkies. They actually go to the games. They actually enjoy that. I mean, the fact that they actually showed up to the games, that's amazing. Contrast that with like Cronkies who don't show up to any games unless it's like the end of the season and like to handle business. But like I feel like he's actually gonna be okay. I mean, he's very well educated. Now, obviously, education goes both ways because like sometimes well educated people like doesn't mean success. You still gotta do it. But at the same time, like the guy has all the qualifications to actually do it.
Are not all top chairmen or owners well educated though?
Yeah, but at that level, you think so. But like sometimes no. Sometimes no. Sometimes it's like they bought the club for like you just said, like they buy the club and they manage it just to like make money, right?
Yeah. But what kind of education did he have?
He had an MBA at Stanford, man. You can't get a better education than that.
Well, here's some extra stats.
Like education isn't everything. Education isn't everything, obviously, but like it's all about like allocation of resources and how to use it, right? So
yeah.
He at least has to know how to do it, but like let's see what he does practically, kind of thing.
Well, he's played an integral role, as it says here. I've just got on screen for anyone that can, if you can see this, mate. Basically, just a bit of a background on Mr. Marathi or Marath. I think I've being told is how it's said. In what he's done, in the work he's done, he's done he's very commercialized. Super Bowl 50, WrestleMania 31. He's got a good CV in making big events. That's something that I think America does a lot better than what we do in England is making big events. There's so much more stuff going on there. And when they get something, it's a big show, it's a big production, there's big promotion around it. In England, sometimes we lack that kind of showman-esque ability that they show here. And obviously, he's very well versed in that. Will that translate over to English football, though? The sport is very different.
No, I agree with you. Like, I mean, that's always a difficult thing because, like, but I feel like he's not just like, all right. So people always say like Saudi owners, right? Like they want Saudi owners because they care about the club and stuff, right? Like, look at like the Chelsea situation right now. They're screaming for like a Saudi owner or like only the owner they just don't want like an American.
They've got enough oil, man. They've got enough oil.
Yeah.
They're not going to get anyone better than Roman Abramovich.
Oh no, that guy's like for me that's like the gold standard. Obviously that's like the gold standard. Like I mean, it's unfortunate
because he's not using. He just wants to win. He just generally like, yeah.
But I feel like this guy's actually going to be up there, like in terms of that, because I think he actually cares about the sport. Otherwise, he wouldn't be like taking that job on.
Yeah.
Don't forget, those are like these are high profile jobs, right?
Yeah, but what is it? Okay, what has he actually done with the 49ers? It says here he's played an integral role of rebuilding the 49ers. I don't really know. I don't know. I'm not going to lie and say I've watched a lot of the 49ers, but how are they in terms of like other NFL teams? Are they one of the big dogs?
Oh, they used to be massive, man. They used to be massive. They used to like win the Super Bowl like every other year, but then they've had a little bit of decline, but they still like up there in the sense like they still compete every once in a while. Can they be better? Yeah, obviously it can be better, but like at the same time, like with the NFL, it's like it's just one of those things. You got to make everything work sometimes, and it's kind of hard.
Are there any differences with clubs that have more money than other clubs, like we do in England, where it's quite unfair competition-wise?
The thing about American sports is all about quality. You have quality. That's like the...
Yeah, but does money not get quality?
No, not necessarily, because like you can pay like people good contracts, right? But at the same time, in team sports in America, you still got to like... You need other people, right? So it's all about building teams.
Yeah.
Quality definitely like makes a big difference, but getting the quality like in the NFL is like it's kind of hard. I mean, I'll give you an example. Like locally, like I support like the Orlando Magic.
Yeah.
they've done well. They've had like similar like fortunes, but like at the same time, to get like that one quality player like Kevin Durant or like LeBron James, and I live in a good location too, but to get those pieces is something else because like there's always obviously like where you want to live and stuff like free agency and all that stuff matters. Like at the end of the day, if the player wants to play out west, he's gonna want to play out west, right?
Yeah.
So location matters a lot. But sometimes it's all about building a good team.
Yeah.
Just to even stay in like good like competitive situation.
Yeah, that's, I mean, with England, with Leeds rather, in England, not exactly a location that a lot of people would be desired to come to just as a location in general. It's, I mean, it's a lovely place, but the weather's not exactly fantastic up there, and it's quite detached from like the buzzy metropolitan of England, of London rather, which is probably more a bit like America. Let's be real, Saudis don't give a fuck. Yes, I do, but up to a certain level. Have Gav, or not going to read that, had their Weetabix. We should be owned by some Arabs with a lot of money from Dubai. Look, that would be my opinion. And with you saying there, let's be real, the Saudis don't give a fuck. Got to disagree with you there, Logan. I think the Saudis definitely do care, but they care about themselves. When they talk about Newcastle and they're like, yeah, we wanted to rebuild Newcastle, what a great club. That's sales pitch. That's PR. They didn't go watching goal, you know, over in Saudi Arabia and suddenly become massive Newcastle fans and care about the club and da-da-da-da. They saw it as an opportunity of a sleeping giant, a club who is under very, very poor ownership, and a club that had good facilities to turn around, kind of like Leeds and what Radrizzani did at Leeds. What they do care about, though, is building the stock of the Saudis globally, you know, adding credibility to it. If they take over Newcastle and start winning the Champions League, they start dominating English football, it suddenly validifies the Saudi Arabian investment and validifies the country on a global level. So it's a bit more in their own self-interest, but as a byproduct of that, in the meantime, Newcastle would be reaping in all the benefits of it, which is why, I mean, I don't know, did you see much about the conflict that they've had with Qatar over everything?
I feel like the Saudi issue is like very different, like over here. Like, I mean,
but the issues like with Qatar trying to block them from taking over Newcastle for that reason.
Wait, Qatar trying to block what?
I thought they tried to block the Saudi deal, basically, because they don't want the Saudis getting more stock over them. It's like a dick swinging competition. You know, they've got money, but what do you do about it now?
Oh, I get that. Like, I mean, because it's competition at the end of the day. Like, yeah, those clubs are different, man. I mean, those are like state-owned clubs. Places like Saudi Arabia and like Qatar, man, like means a lot to them. Like, that's a big thing for them. Like, if owning something and like having it be successful.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I actually found out some interesting thing about Qatar. If you're a Qatari national, which is like, so your bloodline has to go back about 5 generations in Qatar. You get born and you get born. Once you're born, you get gifted a bank account from the state that you can access when you're 18 years old. And this is a Qatari guy who's telling me, no, but the bank account you get that you can access is has $1 billion US currency in it. And then if you marry someone, you get another billion. So they're basically trying to take over. So he said, I don't want any of my people to ever have to work again. Obviously, if you moved there a couple of generations ago, different story, a lot of poverty there. But that's why they want to use it to build up businesses all over the country and all over the globe, rather. And therefore, if there's Saudi or Qatari businesses, then it's going to help the economy of Qatar and Saudi Arabia in general. And the best example of that is a football club, because football's the biggest sport in the world. So it's going to get massive global appeal. Now, with the Americans coming over, would they see it as that much? Do they actually care about winning over here? Because you look at someone like, okay, perfect examples, FSG and Kroenke. You've got the Kroenkes who couldn't give a rat's ass about winning. They care about their bottom line. That's all they check, and they don't even know who the hell is playing half the time. They probably don't know half their squad. Whereas you look at FSG, who do very much care about winning, and they can't spend so much, but they've brought the analytics over from America, the way they analyze all their kind of scouting and developments, and they win trophies. How would you compare the 49ers to FSG and to the Cronkies?
No, I think they're very different.
In what way?
Culturally, I think there's like a different. Me personally, I feel like it's just a different culture.
Yeah.
With the Cronkies, I think. All right, listen. I know like the Cronkies are like the poster boy of like American owners for some reason.
Yeah.
But like with them, I think like it was like a family heirloom. Like I think they bought the club and then they passed it on to like Josh Kroenke, and that he was supposed to be very successful, but that's his thing. That's his goal, like Josh Kroenke. So like, and you know like his success in life is supposed to be is gonna go wherever Arsenal goes. So
Yeah.
that's where it was. I think with like with the owners you have, I think it's more about like just winning and making stuff happen.
Mm-hmm.
More innovative in that sense. Like I think you guys are gonna be way better off. Like I think it just like the mentality is very different. You have to remember, like you just somebody just said in the chat, like you got your owners actually attend the games. I guarantee you, like that doesn't happen with the Cronkies. With obviously commercialization is important. I think like you grow up in the U.S. like you want to make some money, right?
Yeah.
You gotta make sure like everything is sustainable.
Okay.
However, like there's a reason for that too, because like you still gotta like make sure like your club survives. Like something has like you can't just spend like obviously we're talking about like Saudi Arabia and stuff like that. Like they have excess money.
Yeah.
Like, so clubs never going bankrupt.
Mm-hmm.
The U.S. I feel like U.S. owners are more about like making it sustainable, but that's a part. But I think like with the owners you have, it's all about like the project of like actually making a successful thing happen. It's gonna reflect on them.
Yeah, so obviously you touched on the model. It has to be more sustainable than the likes of the Saudis or the Qataris who can just splash all the money under the sun. But
rich money,
and you say it's about winning, but why would they specifically care about winning in England? You know, why are we seeing so many more American-owned clubs? We have 4 fully American-owned clubs. We're looking at Burnley, Liverpool, Man United, and Arsenal. You have Aston Villa, who are 50% American-owned, and Leeds, who are 46% American-owned. That's 6 clubs who are either fully owned or pretty much almost majority owned by American owners. How is the sport of football taking off over there? How is it, like, obviously it's nowhere near the main sport over in America, but how has it grown over the past 10 years or so?
That's a fantastic question. That's an amazing question, actually. I applaud you for that one. The thing is, like, I think football, soccer, like here is taking off. I mean, I think like a lot of people are like, people are like really appreciating the game a lot more. And some of it has to do with like just the the commercialization of it. Like it's just now more than like than how it used to be like when I was growing up. But there's another thing, because like, you know, like when you talk about like American football and stuff like that, there's a lot of concussions. There's a lot of stuff that comes with that. Basketball, I think like it's still like I feel like basketball is gonna like still be up there.
Mm-hmm.
But that's like a city kind of thing. With soccer, I think it's definitely taking off. Like a lot of parents and stuff, like they want like their kids to play soccer.
Mm-hmm.
Hate to use that word, but like, you know, like that's like kind of differentiate. But yeah, like I feel like a lot of parents like growing up, like they want their kids to play soccer, and it's a big thing, you know. Like I mean, there's academies for it now. Like compared to like when I was growing up, it used to be it's a luxury to play like football here. Football.
What about in the collegiate system? Obviously, they have college wrestling. They have college American football. Is it now its own like actual course in colleges?
Yeah. No, that's always been the case. But like, but a lot of people are drifting towards it because they now like read about like the CTE, the concussions and everything like that happens with like American football.
It's also cheaper. It's one of the most like working class sports around. All you need is one football. You can get 22 people, 11 aside, jumpers for goalposts, and you're ready to go. Fighting American football, you got to buy all the equipment, you got to buy all the guards and all that stuff. It's a lot more of an expensive sport, which could help it in the future.
So it used to be the other way. Like, I mean, so here, like, you know, if you played soccer, football, it's mad expensive. It's about like it's very expensive to do that stuff here. Just with the insurance, like everything, like doctors, you know, you gotta have like all that. Yeah, because you know, like I mean, I feel like in the UK you have like everything covered, right?
We don't really have it. There's not many doctors. You break your leg, you get old Steve coming on with the magic sponge over here. Is what you get. Oh, walk it off.
Healthcare, right?
Huh?
Like healthcare, like covered by like.
We have national healthcare. Yeah, we do. We do have national healthcare.
Here, you got to pay for your healthcare.
Yeah.
So that's a big difference. So like here, like you know, if you're playing any sport, like you got to get insurance, just so like you don't have to like. And also, don't forget, like we have basketball courts here, right? Like that are very nice.
Yeah.
But we don't have soccer pitches or like football pitches.
Mm-hmm.
At the same quality, so. It's one of those things. It's like now picking up, but back in the day, it used to be mad. It's a luxury. It was a luxury to play the sport.
Yeah,
especially when I was growing up.
Well, obviously that's all changing very quickly, which hopefully is the reason why we're seeing American owners come in, and hopefully they do actually have a care for the sport, and as it grows in America, they maybe want to become involved with a more successful club, because it is the biggest sport in the world and it could potentially be on its way to becoming that in America. Now, the big fear that everyone, myself and I, and pretty much I speak for everyone in this chat and every English fan when it comes to American sport, is what happened just over a year ago, probably 12, 13 months ago, the European Super League, heavily driven by American owners. That's who. Yeah, I know it was run by Florentino Perez, but the main driving forces, especially in this country, were who? Kroenke, Fenway Sports Group, the Glazers. Henry Glazer was pretty much the big guy in England driving it through. Kroenke was up his ass with it too. And what was the so City weren't American owned. Tottenham American owned. And that's another team I didn't include with American ownerships, because yes, Daniel Levy fronts it, but it's Enoch, who's an American owner, who actually funds the club from behind. So, you know, do you think that's a possibility that could happen again?
Like, you're saying, like,
say if we get like 7-8 American owners, do you think we could move into a place where we don't have relegations anymore?
So we had this debate last year, didn't we? Like, we had this like amazing conversation, me, you, and Mel. Because like, I don't know, because I feel like you know, I don't think it's good for the sport, but the matches are great, right? Like, I do think the matches are great, but I feel like the climate in England is such that, like, you know, locally you support a club, and it's so massive there. Like, it would hurt the game so much if that actually happened.
Yeah.
Compared to like for example, like obviously like those 8 clubs that those 8 to 10 like clubs that actually get the Super League, it helps them out massively. The money you get from that is like massive. But however, locally, like, it kills the game, and I don't. That's the reason I don't think like the UK is going to allow it.
Well, the reason why they'd make more money is because the broadcasting would be put into their hands. So basically, Man United, every time they play, they'd have it on their phone or on their app or something, on their website, and it'll be like, you want to watch this game, £1, and you can watch Man United versus Real Madrid.
Right now, actually.
Yeah, but here now, if you're in England and you want to watch the Champions League, you have to have a BT Sport subscription. You want to watch the Premier League, you have to have a Sky Sports and a BT Sport and an Amazon Prime. You have to have all these things. It's the clubs aren't making that money. The money is being put into the Premier League, and they're making money from being in the Premier League, yes, but they're not actually owning the revenue themselves, as opposed to, like I say, Man U play Real Madrid. They say you want to watch it, go on www.mufc.org, pay £1 here, and all of a sudden 150 million, 200 million people go and pay that because they're like, oh, it's only £1, bang, 200 million pound extra revenue that they weren't seeing before. And you're thinking about finishing the Premier League in general, you're making 200 million pounds. The money that would be involved is staggering, which gets me thinking, with American sports, what is the broadcasting like in there? Because obviously we have the 3 p.m. blackout here, which, if you don't know, basically means the reason why everyone's streaming MBSC or American versions of Premier League football is because we can't actually watch Saturday 3 o'clock kickoffs. They've banned them. No British broadcaster can actually broadcast these games. What's it like in America? Do you have one dominant broadcaster? Do you have loads that can every game be shown at all times?
So if you're talking just football in a sense, like I can just watch most games just like with a subscription, and I can just go on my iPad and like buy the subscription, and like I can watch every game, kind of like The thing is, kind of like how you guys can with like UFC. I feel like with UFC you guys get free, right? Like if you have BT subscription.
It's not free. Yeah, you get when it's on BT. BT's like £35 a month for BT Sport.
Dude, so a pay-per-view here, a pay-per-view UFC like.
Oh yeah, but we have to pay pay-per-views as well. We don't. If it's BT Sport, pay-per-view, that's different. It doesn't come under your subscription model. It's just the free ones, like the ones you'd be able to watch for free anyway, like the fight night ones. The actual UFC cards or something like that, you have to pay for. Annoying.
It always seemed like the UFC cards they were free.
No. Farthest thing from it. But like, so how much do you have to pay to watch sports in America?
Depends on the sport. Like UFC.
Okay, let's say basketball. All right. You want to watch every game for the whole year.
Like you pay like $120 for the entire year.
£120 for a year, and that will show every single basketball game.
Single game, yeah.
Every single one, any time of the day you can watch it.
That's the prem for me.
So
too. Like
$10 a month. Yeah. So the equivalent of £8, the equivalent of a Netflix subscription, you can watch every single game. Whereas here we have a system which is so broken that you can spend £30-40 a month on Sky and you can't watch every single game. You just can't. There's some games that aren't broadcasted at all. Then to watch some other games, you have to go and spend £30 a month on a BT Sports subscription. Then you have to go buy an Amazon. You have to spend, if you want to watch everything, you're looking at around 80 to 100 quid a month minimum just for the sport, and you're paying $8 a month, and that's obviously a reason why.
Like $8 to $10 a month,
But that's why you're seeing these clubs, these owners want to come over and get a bit of that English money. Annoying as hell that the PL gets so much income now. When Leeds went into administration, a measly £140 million with no parachute payments back. That's ridiculous. The parachute payment thing is another debate, which is basically a club gets relegated from the Premier League into the Championship, resultantly gets helped and supported with parachute payments like 50-60 million, so that they don't go into bankruptcy. But what it also means is they're so much richer than every other club in the Championship that they can sometimes just cakewalk their way back up, and it creates such a paradigm.
I hear that all the time. But at the same time, I'm like, there's no other option with that one.
Hello? Oh, it's cut.
There's like no other option, right? Like, I mean, without parachute payments, like most clubs are broke.
Yeah, but I mean, I think they should just pump more money into the league. Myself personally, but I think it's a perfect segue into the new FFP regulations. We're talking about the 49ers. We're talking about the American ownership. I can't think of any American owner in the Premier League that is currently really splashing more cash than what they earn. So let me just get this up on the screen now. New FFP regulation. Bang, bang, bang. They propose new spending rules to replace financial fair plays. Proposed new spending rules replace UEFA's current financial fair play regulations, would limit clubs spending on wages, transfers, and agents' fees to 70% of their revenue from 2025. Now, this is very important here. This part of Everton, £360 million in the red right now. Well, they are exactly, and Everton are a club who could be getting hit with big points deduction as a result of that. But what this basically is doing, it allows clubs that earn more revenue, the likes of a Leeds and an Everton compared to a Burnley, to therefore spend more, because you're allowed to put 70% in now. But what it also does is it gets rid of the kind of invisible payments, the likes of agents' fees, that usually go under the radar, which is why when people talk about Liverpool not spending a lot, a small caveat to that is that they spent more on agent fees than pretty much any other club in the league. I think bar maybe Man United. They are right up there with the agents' fees and the bonuses and these hidden things that they were paying, which does kind of skew the data a bit. But what it is, if the agreed plans, which will be phased in from 2023, will allow clubs to spend 90% of their revenue, reducing to 80% and 70% a year later, but it is going to get rid of it all. So basically, it's adding a wage cap in. Now, before we get into whether a club with American owners can survive in this realm with FFP being abolished and obviously these mega clubs coming in, there is a wage cap in American sports, is there not? And how does that wage cap work?
Depends on the sport. Like it depends on the sport. Like some sports have like a hard cap, and some sports have a soft cap.
So what's a soft cap?
NBA, for example. NBA. I'll give you an example. In the NBA, like if you go over the limit, you have to spend. So you pretty much have to pay that as a luxury tax.
Yeah.
Back to like the entire like system, I guess. With the soft cap, it's like they allow going over to a certain limit, which you can kind of see like in the NFL and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. So how much? Like, what do you mean they allow it going over it to? So you have to pay it back within a few years.
You go above like a certain limit, right? But like you have to spend that money back. You have to. So basically, the way it works is like, if you go above like the salary, if you go above the wage cap, basically every dollar you have to spend like it's like $2, closer like $1.70. Like you got to pay that back for how much you went over as a penalty.
Yeah.
So, but the thing about that is like some teams can afford it, some teams can't. It just depends on like where you're at. Like some teams just do it just because like they're in like win now mode. We're gonna get a championship. It doesn't matter.
So how much is the wage cap? Like, is statistically?
Depends on the sport. Depends on the sport.
Okay, like, so American football.
I'll give you an example. Like NBA salary cap last year. Let's see. I forget like the exact figures, but
so obviously this is okay.
Yeah.
The maximum team salary. What the hell? I don't know what million per team in player benefits, but in the NFL, it's $200 million is the maximum salary. So the fear, obviously, in England, which is very different to America, where it's the same everywhere, it's a paradigm of wage caps. If we put wage caps in European football, there's a fear that, okay, all of a sudden people will start going to South America, they'll start going to Brazil, they'll start going to Africa, they'll start going to Qatar, they'll start going to these other places that are suddenly going to be like, oh, you know what? I'll give your agent an extra £10 million. Maybe he'll then encourage you to come over and play in Qatar for a couple of years, completely pad out your contract, maybe come over to China. Obviously, in America, that's not the case because every single club is forced into this wage cap thing. And also, am I correct in saying that the average salary in American sports is a hell of a lot higher than it is in English sports?
Yeah, I would say so, but I think like the one thing about like sports in England, I feel like you have like more mobility, right? Like you have a say in like where you want to go.
Yeah.
So I think like that's one big difference. I think like in the U.S., like if you're stuck with a team, like you're pretty much stuck there until you get a trade, right?
Stuck where?
Like stuck in your team, like unless you gotta play out your contract, like you don't get you could get traded on the spot.
Yeah.
Like that's one of those things like that happens here. Is like you could be playing well, but tomorrow morning like you get traded.
Hmm. What?
With
What? For what reason would you get traded?
just because like a business decision, etc. It happens all the time. Like
Really?
I mean, yeah, club doesn't like feel you anymore. Club doesn't like you. Anything, you just
Yeah.
get traded.
Well, that's
In
something
the
that. Sorry.
UK, I feel like you have some say on where you want to go. You gotta agree like to a move, right? Like a loan,
Well, you do.
even a loan.
Yeah.
So
You do.
that's
Ever since the Bosman ruling, which I'll quickly just dip into. Basically, there was a guy called
yeah.
Bosman back in the 90s. He got screwed over by a club that basically wanted to keep him. They didn't want to let him move. He ended up winning the court case, and as a result of that, the Bosman ruling came in, which allowed basically players to control their destiny in where they can and can't go. So in the US, a contract for say 5 years has to be fulfilled by the player before they can request a transfer. Is that so?
No. So okay. So like it's the same way. Like a contract is a name. You're contracted. You have to do it, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, like if you get traded, like you can always request a trade and do all that stuff, and like they'll trade you, and they'll trade you for like a equal like thing, unless they like buy you out. That's like another option. If you get bought out, you get bought out. But at the same time, most of the time, like you kind of have to like it's guaranteed money. It is guaranteed money. So like for example, like a 5-year contract, that money's guaranteed to you.
Mm-hmm.
Now whether you get it, in some sports, like
So what happens if you get traded 3 years into your 5-year contract?
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
So what happens for the rest of that contract? Do you stay on the same contract at a different club?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Whereas in England, if you've got 2 years left, you can basically just choose to stay at that club. But in America, do you not get a say?
You don't really get a say. Yeah, you don't really get a say. If a club wants to get rid of you, they make a deal work.
So it all happens behind your back, and you can wake up in the morning and then you get traded.
Exactly.
Like that video, I don't know what the guy is. He turns up to training, and then all of a sudden he can't get into the building.
Exactly.
I think I've been traded. That sounds far better than the system in the UK. Well, it depends how you look at it. For the player, it's not. But in the fact that you can look at players currently running or raiding clubs to ransom, holding clubs to ransom, then yeah, in that sense, it is a hell of a lot better. It is a hell of a...
I mean, listen, like financially, I think it's the same. You're gonna get your money. You're gonna get your money. But mobility-wise, it's a bit different.
Yeah. Mobility-wise, and obviously with the new FFP rules, as we were talking about there, obviously it's gone up from a £5 million to now a limit of 30 million. You're an Arsenal fan. You know, this should seriously help you guys invest more dough into your club now. Because like I was saying before about a club like Arsenal capitalizing on the whole, how should I say, commercialization and building such a big brand, you make so much more revenue than a Newcastle, for example. So how do you expect this change in FFP to affect a club like you compared to Newcastle? Newcastle, whose owners have a lot more disposable income than you, and you guys who generally make more money as a club but have less money from your ownership to spend. How do you think this will impact you guys in competing to stay in the top 4 spot?
Honestly, like for me, like I feel like Arsenal is always like that one club that FFP like never is a big issue.
Because you don't spend any money. That's why. Because you're not spending any money.
That's the point right there. Like, I mean, I feel like the way like we've been like run like the last year or so, like we've reduced our wage bill. We've reduced our wage bill. Like we've done stuff like historically we've done stuff like where like we've tried to make do with like less. So in that sense, like, I feel like Arsenal is in a good position now. Teams that I feel like this is gonna affect a lot is like one, obviously United is going to get affected by this.
Man U.
Yeah.
How are they going to get affected by it?
Well, like, all right, so you have the Ronaldo deal, right? Like, and obviously, like, we have no idea what's happening with like the Greenwood situation. There's gonna be some contracts like they have to like deal with.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like they're gonna feel some burden because like I think like clubs. I don't know where. Obviously, we don't know where Man U's headed right now. I think it's like in limbo right now. Like,
To
I
the
think
dumps, hopefully.
probably in the dumps. Honestly, like I hope so, but
Hopefully, am I right?
I actually think they're gonna be better off next year, sadly. But just because I think they got two people working on this job next year. They got Ralph up in the clouds, and then basically you got like another coach. So they're gonna have like two heads thinking about it, but we'll see.
Yeah, that's scary.
We'll see what happens with them. But like there's definitely some clubs like impacted more so than others. Like I think financial fair play is like one of those things. It's like teams with like good lawyers, people with like good lawyers, they'll figure out ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's funny here just reading up about Chelsea being able to splurge the cash again. Why do you worry about ESL? Chelsea and City were playing unofficial. Why do you worry about the European Super League? Chelsea and City were playing unofficial European Super League. Now FFP scrapped with Newcastle getting new owners. See the pattern. Now what he means by that basically is the whole argument we had against FFP is that it's not fair, or the European Super League rather, it's not fair competition. You know, there's no parity of competition in that there can be a Leicester City who come from the bottom and suddenly win the top because it's a closed shop. But basically the argument is that it pretty much is a closed shop with clubs like City and Chelsea who can run the show because they have so much disposable money. You could put Man United into that bracket if they weren't so thick with how they were spending the money and they actually had someone with brains over there that knew how to invest it properly, then they would be up there as well. And now Newcastle coming in, that's why I was intrigued to get your point on how you think, if you think Arsenal can even get themselves back into being a consistent top four club when the likes of Newcastle start splashing the cash, which is why I was saying with Leeds, with the 49ers, with the investment plan they have, how are we going to get into the European places if we don't splash the cash in the same way as them? But yes, the pattern could be repeating themselves, but potentially this could allow equal competition, because what it has been with this with FFP doesn't work. FFP was designed, and let's make no mistake about it, FFP, oh, he's gone. Well, as I was saying, let's make no mistake about it, FFP was designed to keep the clubs at the top, and to stop people from the bottom from making their way up. Now that the FFP has been scrapped, clubs like Newcastle could potentially get up easier, but would it help clubs with less disposable revenue? Because the way that clubs like City was sponging around it is with their dodgy ownership model, which basically allows them to sponsor themselves with Etihad, and then they can claim that, oh, Etihad have suddenly come and said they want to spend £500 million a year on sponsoring us, even though the same owner that owns City owns Etihad. So he's basically slipping himself money and being like, hey, where's this cash come from? All right, I'll spend some of that. So this does potentially help alleviate that pressure for clubs with a little bit less money. But do you think that it's even possible for clubs without these Saudi or Qatari owners to compete in the English game anymore?
Yes, I do, but I think you got to be very, 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 very creative.
Very creative. Is that something that you think? Sorry to go back to it. But Paragath, sorry, I keep mispronouncing his name. Parag Morathi sounds like money laundering to me, JT. That's exactly what it is. I mean, well, no,
it is.
allegedly what it is. You know, I don't want to, get myself in trouble there. But it's pretty much what it is. What were you gonna say?
No, I think so. Like, I mean, like obviously, like like those guys have good lawyers. I mean, there's a reason they're top lawyers. They can get through anything.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, with FFP, like, I mean, I look at FFP and I'm like, it's one of those things where I look at it, I'm like, yeah, I mean, you got good lawyers, you can get out of it. But at the same time, like, what we're talking about, like, you got to be very, very, very creative.
Especially, you got to be creative in the way that you slip those brown packages across, especially when you have these creative lawyers who suddenly decide to have Jordan Pickford level Butterfingers and dropping these brown envelopes all over the UEFA headquarters. I mean, I think they just really need to work on their handwork on all these expensive lawyers that they just keep leaving certain envelopes lying around, from what I've heard, in and around the UEFA headquarters. But yeah, money laundering allegedly is not far, probably not far off. Obviously, I don't speak with facts. I'm not inside the actual offices of what's going on, but you're probably not far off. Let's just say football is pretty corrupt from the top to the bottom. Did you see that whole Roman Molina stuff?
Nah, but it's more than that. Like, I mean, we had a guy at our club who did that too. Raul. Raul. Yeah. For me, like he Don Raul was like the biggest like mess up in like the last 3 years of what happened with Arsenal. I think like after like Wenger left, I think we could have still competed, but like there was definitely stuff like happening behind the scenes that's like criminal.
While Wenger was there, or after he left, you mean? Sorry.
No, after he left, I think like that was the bigger. I think the biggest issue is like you had people like not actually like. Obviously, we had those big contracts, right? Everyone always like points to those like big contracts of Ozo and Aubameyang. We never actually built a team around those two, and those two on their day are still superstars, my opinion.
Yeah, because you didn't want to spend the money on it. That's why.
No, because like I think what happened was they gave them the big contracts, and then they're like, the coaches didn't match up. Like Emery didn't want Ozo and like
yeah, but why'd you not give that money to Wenger then? Wenger was a coach that matched up better than anyone.
I think the climate was such that I think Wenger was like outgoing, and I think it was just that climate.
Yeah, but that's like, he didn't want the money. Is that what you're saying? He didn't want these top signings.
I get what you're saying. He finished fourth, right? Like final season.
He finished top four with Marouane Chamakh.
Yeah, but at the same time, like that's
and
the biggest, like,
Park up top.
No, I get that. Like, I mean, I'm not like I get that, but at the same time, like I think the whole like club needed refreshing, no matter what. Like, I mean, I feel like he was doing stuff, and we never gave him the investment. But yeah, there was a culture there that needed refreshing.
Yeah, well, they're damn right. There's a culture there that needs refreshing. Do you think that's changing though at Arsenal? Do you see it changing anytime soon?
Arsenal's a tough one. I don't know. I don't think so. Because I think like I still point to the season. I think like the reason we're finishing where we are right now is because like Man United fucked up. My opinion. There's no way like that team should be finishing where they are right now. If you just look at like the squad.
What, the squad? What do you mean? How do you mean that?
Like, I feel like with that quality, like any coach gets that quality, like he's gonna make it.
What, that they should be lower down or higher up?
Oh, they should be higher up. I think they should be.
What, Arsenal?
No, Man United.
Oh yeah, Man United. I mean, you cut off for a second now. So you're saying you shouldn't be because of a club like Man United? No,
I think we're on around the ballpark. Like I think we're like I projected like 5th or 6th, right? Like I didn't expect like Man United to be that bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think that was like the big like thing, and then obviously Tottenham, like Tottenham's Tottenham. I mean,
yeah, Tottenham are never gonna win anything, are they? Yeah,
but Arsenal wise, I think like the biggest reason they're 4th this year is because Man United messed up.
Yeah.
Because I think fifth is I get fifth. I get fifth place because like the chances we create and stuff like that. Like we're not a team. Like we're not there yet. Like in terms of like a team.
Yeah.
But because I've seen like you look at those big games, things haven't changed. Like I mean, every single year, like we play the top teams and we go there and it's like jail. you're getting beat the hell out of you for about like 90 minutes. You play Liverpool, Man City, you can beat the hell up. The problem is, but at the same time, like there's more like, and even the games like Crystal Palace and Wolves,
yeah.
those are tough games. Those are like scrappy games.
Yeah.
So like we haven't really changed it. The only thing is like a lot of those like losses last year are wins.
Only the best teams can beat Wolves at the moment, anyway.
I don't know. I feel like you guys have a good team on your day too.
You're damn right. We've got a good team on our day when they're not all getting flipping injured. I mean, ironically, we got four injuries in 50 minutes against Wolves and still managed to turn around the result. What do you know actually? What do you know about Jesse Marsh? Do you know much about? Is he big? Is he big over in America?
Yeah, no, he's big. He's big. I mean, he was projected for the U.S. job, and I think like the U.S. job. Don't get me wrong. I fucking hate U.S. coaches. I'll put it this way. I shouldn't be cursing. My bad. But like he's definitely like the top of the bunch.
Yeah.
In my opinion, of like U.S. coaches.
Is he a big name? Like if you went over to people in America, would they all know who Brendan? Well, would a lot of them know who Brendan Harrison is?
Yeah, everybody knows who he is, and he's another guy. Like I said this. Like we go back to like education. That guy's an Ivy League grad.
Who?
And like he's actually like
Jesse Marsh.
If you read the story, like he's not like he's not a nobody.
Jesse Marsh or Brendan Aronson?
Jesse Marsh.
Okay, Jesse Marsh. Yeah. So
the thing about him that is so like amazing.
Yeah.
He's at that like level where like he's taking his licks in life. Like he's taking his like ups and downs, right? Like he's taking like
he had the Leipzig job, which kind of
So he's at that like developmental process, like like he knows what it takes to win. So he's been through up and downs, which goes both ways. Like sometimes there's no coach out there like that's successful all the fucking time.
Okay, so I'll put it this way. If I went over to someone in America and I started talking about, I don't know, Mikel Arteta, how many people are gonna know who I'm talking about?
I mean, he played for Arsenal. Some people will know.
Yeah, but okay. If I compare that to a Jesse Marsh,
well, Jesse Marsh is if you come to the U.S., like he's not gonna be like he's not like a glowing superstar, but like people who know the sport, they know him.
Yeah. Okay. Well, like I'm saying, because obviously you're saying the sport's growing so massively over there. Have you seen maybe more people taking an interest that you've spoken to in America in Leeds as a club because of the fact we now have an American manager? Have you seen more people take an interest in Leeds? The same way that a lot of American fans suddenly became Chelsea fans because of Christian Pulisic. Do you see a similar thing happening with Jesse Marsh at Leeds?
Nah, but it's too soon now. You gotta remember, it's like way too soon.
Yeah.
Like I feel like maybe in time, but for me, like he is definitely like in line for that head coaching job at the U.S. Men's national team.
Well, this is a bigger job than the U.S. men's national team.
Like, if you look at the U.S. coaching, like right now we have Berhalter.
Yeah.
People have wanted him out for like the longest time because he doesn't do shit.
Yeah, but this is a bigger job than that. This is a bigger job than that. This is the Premier League. This is the
I disagree because I think like US national team, that's a big job.
Well, it could be in the years when you get the players that can compete.
It's such a cush job to have.
Well, it's changing because you've got so many more better American talents. I mean, the American League is developing so many more top players now. America and Canada in general. There's it's such a pool of talent that's emerging. Even the likes of Alphonso Davies, a Canadian, grew up playing in the MLS, and now he's one of the best players in the league. If he can avoid relegation, then maybe they know Jesse Marsh. Considering how many people from footballing countries are moving over to America, the sport should be exploding over there.
That's such a good point right there, because all right, so you guys are in England, for example, right? Like your talent, where do you guys draw from?
What, for our managerial or footballing talent?
No, for your national team.
Well, from England, from our country.
Just from England. It's not just England though, right? Like, I mean, you guys.
Well,
have, like,
we have players that have originated from other countries. Like in like, so we got a lot of Jamaican players, for example, like the likes of Raheem Sterling. You know, we've got Nigerian. Yeah, we got a lot of African players that have come over to England and London. You know, it's quite a culturally diverse place.
In the U.S., like people, we get a mix of like Mexican, we get a mix of like Argentina, we get like a mix of like Brazil.
Yeah,
like and we get some like people from Europe. Like it's
but the thing you've probably been happening before is that those players would choose to play for Brazil, Argentina, or Mexico because there's so much better national teams like to compete for.
Yeah.
But as it gets more, as you start to develop more of your talent, then you could potentially see a shift in that.
Yeah, but that's the other thing. Like if America like pulled all their talents in the sport, they'll do well. It would be scary actually, but they'll do well. But athleticism and everything, I mean, but it's just not the main. Like I said, like it's like down the list of sports.
Yeah, but it's growing quickly.
I mean, I project. I don't know. I think like this next decade's gonna. I think U.S. This decade, soccer wise, football.
Do many people have a team over there, or are they just avid viewers of like the Premier League?
Actually, no. Like, there's a mix. Actually, like most of my friends are like they watch La Liga or like
La Liga's definitely massive. La Liga is like the El Clasico is still the fourth biggest game in world football.
Oh yeah, like you should have seen like the party last week.
Yeah.
When Barcelona won that game. When Barcelona dismantled them. Yeah. La Liga. I'd say like Premier League is probably La Liga and like Premier League. Like I think people watch those a lot.
Yeah.
In the US, people also watch like just based on like the timings, like Serie A.
Yeah.
Just because like you can watch every game on like an app.
Yeah. What is it? What's the amount? I think it's what my man our owner created. Is it not? Paramount.
Yeah, that's like an app for it.
Yeah.
Peacock.
No, Peacock. I've got a Peacock subscription myself.
Yeah, so
you know what I mean. Bit of VPN action.
No,
it's the same as you get Peacock.
So the US version, you get like live sports on.
Yeah, it's only in US Peacock. So I'm saying, if a certain VPN company ever randomly on a 0.0001% chance ever landed on this channel and wanted to get me some of that Benjamin Franklin, then I'd be naming you. But as so far, unnamed VPN companies, let's just say they may or may not allow you to get American Peacock subscriptions. That may or may not be a sneaky way. Some people have told me, I've had some friends that have apparently used Peacock in the past in England to get more games, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
They've used the VPN to fly over to America on the back of an express VPN shuttle, and as such been able to get it. But what were we just talking about before? Oh yeah. Who what's the company? What's his? I forget it, man. They show the Serie A. 11 Sports. There you go. Bang. 11 Sports. I think that's more in Europe. They don't use 11 Sports in America, do they? For Serie A. Over here we have 11 Sports show all the Serie A and La Liga games in like Germany, Spain, France, Italy, all that kind of good stuff. But yeah, no, it's very, very different, isn't it? As the sport grows over there, it's a massive, massive market. But like I was saying about the people having clubs over there, with more people getting interested in the sport, obviously they'd be looking for a club. And have you seen over the past couple of years quite a lot of people that are getting into the sport would choose Chelsea as a club because of Christian Pulisic?
Yeah, that's massive. I mean, number of Chelsea fans is insane.
What, because of Pulisic?
Yeah, I mean, it's either most people choose Chelsea, Man City, or like Liverpool.
Yeah.
And
Well, obviously as the big clubs.
The reason they don't choose Arsenal is because they don't want to deal with the ups and downs.
Well, yeah, well,
And
no,
then,
because then they haven't been dominating. Like they'll look at who's the best few teams, who's got the best teams, and at this past 5 years, Liverpool, Chelsea, and City are those clubs that are competing on all things. But I was just more specifically looking at the Pulisic thing, and if you've
Oh yeah, like obviously that's massive because I think so Pulisic is huge, man. I mean, I rate the guy. I do rate the guy. Now like I see the slander sometimes, and I'm like, he's the most direct Chelsea player. Like, I mean, if you need a goal, like
he's a little bit inconsistent in front of goal, but
injuries,
injuries, but yeah.
But a lot of those injuries are like CONCACAF related with like terrible refs and playing in CONCACAF.
He tried to clap up the whole. I forgot the team he even played. He tried to smack up the whole bench.
Yeah, but I will say this. Like I do think like a European game is a lot easier than like a CONCACAF game.
In what way?
The elements.
What do you mean the elements?
All right, so like USA plays Panama, right? Like you're going there, your hotel's getting like vandalized. You're getting the worst hostile treatment in the world.
What, by Panama?
Yeah, like I mean,
I wouldn't say that's much difference. Have you seen the flipping the Russian fans, England versus Russia, scrapping on the street? You got fans going outside players' hotels, letting off fireworks so that they can't speak. I mean, PSG fans were doing that to the Real Madrid players just the other week.
But pitches, quality of pitches, quality of like refs. I mean, I feel like Europe is a lot easier.
Oh, mate, you should see the refs in the Premier League, man. Don't even get me started.
Apart from the Premier League referees, I think they're something else. To get paid so much and like to be shit like that, that's incredible.
Yeah, well now they're gonna start training with the actual teams, which I don't guess gonna be really weird.
But the Champions League refs this year have been like fucking horrible.
Yeah, they're all right. It's smoother than the Premier League.
All right, so I watched. Well, obviously, like with the Champions League, like those two games, Real Madrid, like PSG.
Yeah,
that wasn't a foul on Donnarumma. I'm just saying it. Like I don't think that. I think that was a foul. Actually, my bad.
Yeah,
that was a foul.
That
Benzema first goal shouldn't have counted. You look at like the Man United, like who did they play? Atletico. That ref just let Atletico play. No yellow cards, nothing.
There was some bookings.
There were no bookings.
Booking.
Pretty much you could like get away with murder in that game.
Well, yeah. I know they're a bit of a dirty team.
That's the thing. Like that suits like Atletico style.
Yeah, but you gotta live and let go a little bit. You know, this isn't the NFL. We're not having flipping ad breaks every 5 minutes and Beyonce coming on for a tournament.
Listen, I don't like complaining about the rest, but I mean, I look at that. I'm like, this is horrendous refereeing this year.
To be honest, that's another thing with the American influence coming on the sport. You know, there's so many things that are changing to become more like the NFL and the NFL. Some things for the better, because commercial wise, like you say, as a brand, Americans, you know, tend to get it more. Like technologically, you guys are way ahead of us. Like even when it comes to podcasting, content creation, whether you're sports, with like in general, pop culture, anything. So much light years ahead, and people don't realize how far behind we actually are in this country because we are like a little brother to you. So there are some things in terms of sports development that we are benefiting from, but then there are other aspects of just where the culture does not carry over. There is massive culture differences between America and England, and the likes of the halftime shows and that kind of thing. I mean, I can tell you if that happened here, if you were getting smacked at halftime, 2-0 down to scum, and then all of a sudden you've got flipping Ariana Grande coming out at halftime singing some songs, not going to go down too well. All I'm saying. But do you think, do you see stuff like that kind of happening in English football? Do you think that
No,
you could get that much of a
I
grasp on
don't.
it?
I don't see that. Like, I mean, there is halftime shows, isn't there? Like, depends on the
In
club.
England, no. You'll get like a little charity event hosted by the club, and they'll do like a penalty shootout. But that's about it. Otherwise, it's just players training on the thing.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, if I were to like look at the changes like that are gonna happen in, like English football,
Yeah.
because it's very traditional and I like it that way. Like, I don't know if it requires a lot of change, but like obviously VAR is like the big one that's happened like the last couple of years.
Yeah.
People love it, people hate it, but like I don't know. I can't really see many changes. Like if I were to be honest with you,
VAR is a questionable one. It allows for scripting.
yeah,
It's
that's the
becoming more
problem.
like a game of FIFA every year.
Like I don't know. Like I don't know if it requires much changing when you think about it because it's already like short, right? Like the game's already like 2 hours long.
Whoa! Well, that's another thing. What was Mr. Flipping Perez talking about? He wanted to make it 20-minute halves, man. He said the youth aren't getting interested in football, so he wanted to propose to make it. Hang on, let me get this little weasels.
He
I
wants
didn't
to
call
make
him
it,
a
like,
weasel. Huh? Yeah, he
wants
wanted to make it 4 quarters.
That's BS, man. Like I feel like it's the shortest game in the world. Like I mean, and 2 hours is 2 hours. You watch a game, it's 2 hours long. American football, it's anywhere from like 4 to 5. With all the commercials and everything, yeah.
Idea of reducing halves to 30 minutes with stoppage time due to pauses, goals, fouls, out, corners, and so on. So he wants to make it shorter and then add all these little breaks in between, like flipping little 2-minute breaks here and there, make it all stop and start, which is obviously completely against the whole credibility of English football, with the whole point of football in general is that it's a fast-paced sport, never end. Like we don't have ad breaks coming in every 2 seconds, stop and starting the whole thing. How does that work? Obviously for you've kind of grown accustomed to growing up watching that kind of stop and start football. How would you compare the two? Like, is it weird watching something so fluid like the Premier League where it doesn't stop? Or would you not be opposed to it or becoming more stop and start?
No, I like it. I get the necessity of it, like money wise. Sometimes, like I mean, I get it. Like, but at the same time, like nothing beats like a full game, like 45 minutes, 2 hours is 2 hours.
Like for me, I'll get bored watching an NFL game when it stops every 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Like, see, is that something you get, or are you just so used to it right now? Are you so hard grained to it?
Well, because I grew up with it, like, yeah, it's kind of hard. I grew up with it, like, I was so used to it, but, like, for the most part, like, the amount of extra time pissed me off, like, when I'm actually live at the game.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's when I get annoyed the most. Like, I'm like, shit, like, I'm just trying to enjoy the game right now. Mm-hmm. At the actual game. TV-wise, I'm like, whatever. I mean...
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? They could manage to do that because whilst for someone like me that's grown up with it the other way, where it's completely fluid, if they did change it in 30 years' time, you'd have people growing up with that kind of thing. The same way I've only grown up really appreciating the Champions League. A lot of other people who are a bit older, probably some people in this chat, knew it when it was the European Cup and when there was the Cup Winners' Cup and how it's all changed. But for me, it just seems normal to have this many European teams, and especially the way they're changing it. I mean, they're basically making it their own European Super League. Changes to football are happening every second, and when you look at it in 20, 30 years, who knows where this game could be. It could really be pushed on.
See, this is the part that's weird. Like, I was going to talk to you about this on Tuesday with like the World Cup podcast, right?
Yeah.
You're like one of the few people I've seen like who love England, who display like English pride, right? Like you're like one of the few people I know.
What do you mean? What, out of the other English people?
International football sucks. I can't
Yeah.
root for it. Like, like it's
The
uh,
international break, nobody really likes the international break because it's the friendlies and
yeah,
stuff, the qualifiers and stuff. Sometimes it can get a bit annoying for me, when I'm getting really into like the heat of the Premier League and there's games coming
yeah,
thick and fast and I'm watching, and all of a sudden it's 2 weeks for a meaningless friendly that the team don't
yeah.
really care about and they're putting a half-assed thing. But I like to watch England. You see, there's a lot of it's kind of a thing in America. You're a bit more patriotic about your country because of basically people taking it the wrong way in England and using the patriotism towards the English flag and the English culture to use as a subject of racism and attacks and barrages to people that aren't from there. It's basically led to a point where people feel a bit ashamed to be proud of being English
Like,
until a
it's not
tournament
much,
comes
but
around.
I feel like so like all right. So I feel like international breaks in America must be so different than international breaks in the UK
Why? What's it
for
like
that
in
reason.
America?
In America, for example, like you have all these great games going on, right? Like, I mean, don't forget, it's not just like the U.S. men's national team.
Yeah,
You also get to see like Brazil. You also get to see Argentina. You get to see like the CONMEBOL games,
yeah.
and those are like CONMEBOL qualifying is like insane with like the high altitude and everything. Like those
See,
games are like
that's the thing. We don't get much coverage of it really. Like you see some things on
you
social
don't get
media
much
if
stuff.
something crazy happens, but and you'll hear about the results and stuff. But in terms of coverage, like there's obviously we have so much more of a focus on the European qualification, so
Yeah,
we don't really hear or see too much about teams like Brazil or Argentina. Like if something big happens, like I said, then we'll hear about it or we'll hear about the
yeah.
results and how things go. But generally, we're more focused on the Italies, the Germanys, the France, the Spain, the England, and it's probably completely different over there. Do you really even take much of an
Oh yeah,
interest
hands
in
down. Like
European qualification as opposed to South American
no, like
qualification?
yeah, like South American qualification is something else. Like I mean, you go to, like you see like Bolivia playing at like high altitude. You have like I think that's also a reason. Like I think Neymar is so much more hated in Europe than like the
In
Americans,
America?
right? Like I think it contributes to that too because like like I mean, most of the time I go on here, it's like Neymar hate to the max. Like I mean, uh, I
Yeah,
talked to like
I think
Europeans, like
he's a stick as well. People use him as a
absolutely. Like
bec-
I think after the World Cup, like they pretty much used the diving thing, like, and I
Oh
think
yeah,
like
yeah. The
in
dive. Well,
England,
that is something. He does dive a hell of a lot. I mean, we're
see,
not prone to
I feel
ourselves.
like in
Harry
the U.S.
Kane's
though,
a
like
bit. Huh?
I still feel though, like in the U.S., like people still appreciate his qualities. Like the stuff that he does is freaking
People
insane.
still appreciate it here. He is a massive, massive global
Not to the
brand. What
extent though,
people
because
look at is, huh?
not to the extent because like I've seen like Europeans like absolutely hate Neymar.
Oh yeah, there are some that say he's
Mbappe's
just
like a
a
god.
show-off
Mbappe's a
merchant.
god, and that might be a product of FIFA, but like Mbappe's a god. He can do no wrong.
Well, he's a
Neymar, he
source
does anything
demon.
stupid, anything, and it's overblown.
Well, like I said, it was the big switch happened when he made the switch from Barca to PSG, and a lot of people
Oh yeah,
saw him
yeah,
as arrogant, ignorant, like when MSM was popping off, that was the most beloved trio. It's still probably my most
oh yeah,
beloved
yeah.
trio in football, in European football for sure. But once he made that move, people started associating Neymar with 200 million pounds and with suddenly
Yeah,
blowing 140 million pound on Coutinho, 130 million pound for this guy, 75, 80 million pounds on Harry Maguire, and they associate Neymar as one of the driving forces for that or synonymous with that movement, which is why probably you get that a bit. Also, people are a bit more snide to those kind of things in England. Like it's all about hard work and grit
oh yeah,
and determination
I know.
over here, which is fair enough. It's definitely got its place, and there are definitely things about it. But
No, no, no. That's what I was saying is like like sometimes I'm like you look at a player like if he's skilled, he's skilled. Just say it. He doesn't have to like run like a headless chicken all the time.
I think people appreciate the brand and the commercial
Yeah.
aspect of someone in America more, though. Like, for example, like you look at your top athletes, they're like of a LeBron James, they're like of a Michael Jordan. They're a brand, you know.
Oh yeah,
It's people who talk about Cristiano Ronaldo. Yes, he's a massive brand globally, but they love him for him. You know, they're not
I mean,
buying Cristiano
you
Ronaldo aftershave or CR7 underpants. They like him for his footballing ability. Whereas and when you see players like Paul Pogba become commercially big in England and do these kind of excess things with its social media and these adverts and all these other things aside from the football pitch, you hear people like, focus on your football, what are you doing, da 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 da, disgusting, why is you getting paid this much money, this is my dream to do that. Whereas in America, I feel like that sort of stuff is embraced a lot more.
Yeah, I think I don't know. Like sometimes I think about it. Like depends on the American you encounter, like day to day. Like some people are so well versed in the sport, like it's insane. Like they appreciate like the skills. They see everything.
I'm not saying people don't appreciate the skills. I'm just saying as a whole, as a culture, they're more accepting of like commercialization, that kind of thing.
No, I agree with you. I think there's certain things more accepted, like or more tolerated. I think that's a better word. Like some things are just way more tolerated.
But do you see that England could potentially or European football could potentially move in that place in the next 20, 30 years as we need more revenue to split
like,
across the board?
If you're talking like big finals like getting hosted here, no.
I don't mean big finals getting hosted there. I mean as in like the commercialization. I mean the big commercialized, obviously American owned themselves. Man United are someone who basically buy players for their commercial aspect and what money they can get out of it. The Chevrolet dealership, sponsorships, the fact that it's going to bring fans in rather than actually on the pitch thing, which you could argue is a reason why they've been so behind over the past 10 to 15 years in development of their squad. I mean, yes, they won the league in that time under Fergie, but let's be real, that was an aging squad, absolutely papered over the cracks by that signing of Robin Van Persie.
Don't get me started.
Oh man, bringing back bitter memories.
So that guy is frustrating.
Who, Van Persie?
So well, right? He developed so well, right? And
I can imagine.
Like that hurt actually, because for me, like I don't know, like of strikers that I've seen, he was scary, man. He was scary as a striker.
Oh man, in those couple of years, that 3-year period at the end of his Arsenal career. Him and Song linking up. Woo! Alex
Song.
The
biggest like this Arsenal-wise, man. I wish I would Diaby. I wish the guy was able to stay fit.
He was a cult hero, wasn't he? He was actually really slated.
Man.
Nah, Cazorla was just loved by everyone.
Diaby he was good. Like he's the only two-footed player I've seen actually. Equal skill both sides. It's hard to get that.
Yeah, but it's like it's funny actually. Like we were talking about Diaby and these cult heroes. We have players in England who, basically, even we had it at Leeds with Patrick Bamford for a bit, and everyone slates them and hates them, and they become sort of a meme or a stick to poke fun at. And then after they manage to break through that point, they become so beloved and revered from that. Whereas, is that something you see in America? Do you ever see people that go from being hated to massive cult heroes?
Like in sports, yeah. Like I mean, look at, I mean, there's definitely examples. Like I mean,
look at
the thing about it though. Like the hate isn't the same.
The heat from the press not on as bad for them. Like no, if they have a bad game, so like
vast, it's so vast, like no one cares.
Like if Grealish has one bad game, £100 million, what a flop.
Yeah, like the two things about the English press that I've learned is like they love like the whole like money per week.
Yeah.
They exaggerate it too sometimes. Like I mean they exaggerate it too. Like the other thing is like, dude, person goes and parties tomorrow. You do that in the US, no one cares. It's normal.
Yeah, that's
you do that in the UK, God fucking.
Yeah, that's what I mean again with the commercialization thing, whether you're partying or doing anything else out. God damn. Neymar moves to challenge himself, vilified. Poundland Griezmann, a Harrods price tag. Grealish. Oh, he's talking about Grealish as well. Grealish went for 100 mil, has very little personal critique. Also, drove during. I don't think he has very little personal critique, Stu. He is slated a hell of a lot. Jack Grealish is for his price tag, but I think again it's harsh for them to put on the
No,
price
it's
tag.
only his
I don't
first
think
year
they
at-
should have
it-
spent
It's only
that.
his first year at City.
Look, I don't think £100 million was worth it for him at all. I think Raheem Sterling's a better player. I think the squad plays better with Sterling, and I think they could have reinvested that 100 million a lot better across the board. But
No, I mean it's his first year at City. I mean, Riyad Mahrez struggled with the first year.
yeah, true. I mean, I'm not saying Grealish is. I think Grealish is a top
Like
draw player, but
like I did not see like Riyad Mahrez breaking in that team. That like the way he is now. But I think Sane, like something about Sane must have.
he's
like,
inconsistent. That's what it is. He's
But he
inconsistent.
wasn't though. Like
He
wasn't,
was. I used to watch like pretty much. They were the main team I used to watch,
But he was
especially
the reason they won the title though.
Sane, no, he played a role in getting a couple of pivotal goals for them, but that year Sterling won them like 3 last-minute winners
Sterling
that
was on fire
season.
that year.
And he was just slightly inconsistent, and in the style Pep wanted to play with the high intense pressing from the front, that's something Sane could never get really involved with much. Like he didn't work the system as well. But having said that, his quality was probably, and his ceiling was probably higher than anyone else in the team.
I mean, he did get that Liverpool goal though. Like I mean,
Yeah,
I
he
feel
did
like
get that Liverpool goal, which was very, very important. Like I said,
same thing with like the what's his name?
Kevin De Bruyne got that Chelsea goal.
Like, the damn like goal against Leicester.
That was mad. That was absolute limbs. But why you shrugged a bit when he said Neymar moves to challenge himself? You think he didn't move to challenge himself?
Well, I don't know. I think I don't know.
Get out of Messi's shadow. Get out of Messi's shadow so he could win the Ballon d'Or. But then Messi comes back over
weird
anyway.
because like they were such good friends, right? Like it's hard for me. Like I think like the press has something, but like with Neymar, I think like I don't know. Like I mean, I don't think it. I think he was world class. Like.
Oh, of course he is. He still is world class. What do you mean was? He's been world class
Like,
the past 7 years.
In like, all right, well, like minus the injuries, like I think he should have won like the Ballon d'Or one.
Oh no.
Like world class, yes, on the day, but I mean, Ballon d'Or.
No way he should have won the Ballon d'Or. Messi was outdoing him.
Like one of the years, like 2016, I think.
What, after he left to PSG? No.
Yo,
once he was at PSG. Or while he was at Barca?
At PSG. Like,
no, at PSG, definitely not. Definitely not. Not at PSG.
Like the first or second year after.
No. He was injured quite a bit, and he missed all the big games for them.
No. Like, I think he always. All right, so like the first season he was really good. The second season it was really good, but obviously the injury like
Hang on.
There was 1 year like he was so good.
Yeah, look, he's good, but no. The whole argument of him going to PSG was to get out from under Messi's shadows, and therefore win the Ballon d'Or. That was the whole point of him going. I mean, this year, 21 games, 5 goals, 5 assists. Not exactly earth-shattering stuff. I mean, look, I like Neymar. I'm not trying to band on Neymar. I just don't think he was better than Messi in that time.
I think you should have got 1 Ballon d'Or though. I'm pretty sure like there was 1 year he deserved it.
But at Barcelona was his best chance, but he was getting outdone. Nah, because what you do, your stats in the French league, it's so much easier over there that it's going to be messed up.
People say that, but you still got to do it.
Yeah, but to be able to... Ooh, Calvin Phillips. To be able to... To be able to win the Ballon d'Or, as we saw, there were years where Messi outperformed Ronaldo, and Ronaldo still won the Ballon d'Or because Real Madrid were winning so win the Ballon d'Or, your club has to be doing it at the highest level. You have to be either winning the Champions League or winning something internationally.
That's like a new requirement.
And he didn't.
Well, kind of, right? Because like Van Dijk I feel like Van Dijk should have had it like one of the years.
He came second, but I think Messi was still the better player.
You still think it was better? Yeah. But I feel like I feel like defenders get like slated in that award.
PSG walked the French league. Have you heard about Calvin asking for a new contract? Yeah, Calvin. That whole contract thing, I think it's only a matter of time. I think we're just trying to sort out the logistics of it. Obviously, with the new owners coming in. As for them walking the French league, they didn't win it last year, and this year, it's not a clear run for them.
2017, when he had like when Neymar had like 20, there's one. I think it was like the year right after, like 2017. That Neymar was amazing.
He's still amazing now. Yeah, he
Yeah,
was
but, like,
amazing.
consistent. But like, all right, so Ballon d'Or, like, I feel like you gotta do it like day in day out for the year, right?
Yeah.
My opinion. So I think. So yes, like you're right, like you're right, like Messi, Ronaldo, but they both scored like 40. They had like 50 goal contributions a year.
Okay, so it's 2017, 2018, you're talking.
Yeah.
Okay, so in Ligue 1, he played 20 matches.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, he scored 19 goals and 13 assists, which is astounding for 20 games, but he only played 20 games. Champions League, played 7, scored 6, got 3 assists. So he played 30 games in total, in which he scored 28 goals and got 16 assists in his 16 assists and 28 goals in 30 games, which is very, very good. But again, where did they come in the Champions League that year? If I'm right in thinking they got knocked out in the
exactly. I mean, that's always that's always like the stick that they beat PSG with, though. Because I get it. I get it, because like that is it's the same thing with City to an extent, right? Like that's the prize that you got to win.
Wait, who won the? I think it was Ronaldo who won the 17-18 Ballon d'Or. So 20.
And I guarantee it can't. That's what I'm saying. Like that year, Ronaldo wasn't. I think that was.
Oh no, it was Luka Modric who won it, because that was the World Cup year. Yeah, that was a farce. That should have been Messi, man. That should have been Messi. That was a farce that he won that for getting them to the final. Yeah, that was a complete farce. Let me find. Let me.
What do you think is wrong with PSG, by the way? Like now that you brought
let me
that
just
up, like,
get this up as a point of comparison. I mean, yeah, this year hasn't been too amazing for Messi. Still 11 assists in the league. Oh my god.
What do you think is wrong with PSG?
There's just too many egos involved. Like, it's not a well-structured organization, if you ask me. Okay, so in that year, before I do get onto PSG that you were saying with the Neymar thing, Messi in La Liga played 36 games in which he got 34 goals and 14 assists. 6 goals, 2 assists in the Champions League, where they made it to, I believe, the semi-final, was it? Where did they make it? No, they made it to the quarterfinal. Oh, yeah, where they lost to Roma. That was it. That crazy comeback. Yeah, look, 45 games, and he got 48 goals and 19 assists. So he completely outdid Neymar. And that's not even going into international football. He probably got a lot more. But yeah, no, as for PSG right now, they're just a complete mess from top to bottom, aren't they? I mean, they spend so much on so many egos that don't want to play with each other. They're all in it for themselves almost. And it's not really a cohesive unit. Why? What do you think? What do you see as their problem?
I mean, I think they got the talent. And obviously, they got the talent. Like, they have all three. I think like Messi has to settle down one year. I don't know. I feel like that team should, when you look at creativity, like I think the issue with them has always been like the connection between like the midfield and like the forwards.
No, but it's still good. Like they've got a massive. They've got the quality. It's just they have such a mental fragility. They don't have like a winning mentality.
Part of it, but that is part of it. But that is part of it. You're right. Like I don't know if they're like mentally weak.
Yeah, they are, man. When the going gets tough, the tough get going. And aside from that year when Steve McManaman was ironically slagging them off against Atalanta for being mentally weak, and then they went and scored 2 goals in 3 minutes at the end of the game to come back. Yeah, that aside from that, they've shown serious.
I remember that game. That game was freaking insane.
Bro, my phone disconnected
It was right after COVID, right?
It was during COVID. It was after it stopped, and then they came back with no fans. Yeah, and
so I remember that, like, and they nearly picked them apart. Like,
Atalanta was so close. That was peak. That was peak. Well, they were the most high-scoring team in Europe at the time.
Who did they play after
Atalanta.
that, like to get to the final? I forgot
Huh?
who they play.
They played Bayern Munich and lost 1-0. Should have had a penalty in the final.
No, like no, not in the final. Like right before the final.
Well, the semi-final.
Yeah, the semifinal.
Who did Bayern play, or who did?
No, PSG.
PSG played Atalanta. That's what I'm saying.
No, that was like the quarterfinal.
No, that was the semi-final.
No, the semifinal.
Wait.
No.
No, wait, was it? No, was that not the... Oh, no, that was the quarterfinal. Semi-final was RB Leipzig, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Like,
Yeah, they
like
beat them. They beat
I
them
think
3-0.
Timo
Yeah,
Werner
yeah.
played that. I don't
No,
think
Timo Werner had signed for Chelsea by that point.
Yeah.
Because the season ended earlier than what it did. So Timo Werner left for Chelsea and then...
But even then, that final should have been PSG's. They just missed their chance.
Yeah, they didn't. Yeah, Neymar again missed a few.
Well, Mbappe that time.
Mbappe missed a couple of great chances. Choupo-Moting missed one right at the end. Ugh, what a legend Choupo-Moting is.
I remember that final.
How has Choupo-Moting managed to slide his way across all these top clubs? I don't get it, man. Who is his agent?
I always think he's like trash, and then I'm like,
well, no, because he played for Stoke, for God's sake, and then he suddenly signs for PSG and Bayern Munich. Huh?
It's kind of like Icardi.
No, it's nothing like Icardi. You can't compare Mario Icardi and Choupo-Moting. Icardi was one of Inter Milan's top strikers. He was one of Europe's best strikers at the time. Signed for PSG. It hasn't really worked out for him. Wasn't the greatest signing. Choupo-Moting was at Stoke. He wasn't even playing astonishingly well at Stoke. He was just like a bit part Premier League player.
Yeah.
You cannot compare Icardi and Choupo-Moting.
I mean, Icardi, I don't know what the hell happened to him. Like, he was...
he's meant to
I think
be,
PSG, like, going to PSG probably, like, ruined his career.
No, he's just a nuisance. He's trouble. What he is.
Nah, because he was... Well, yeah, I mean, I guess, like, his wife doesn't help, but...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, certainly doesn't. That's
I don't know, man. Like, I mean, I do miss the days of like Fernando Torres and Ibrahimovic.
What do you mean? What do you mean, Fernando Torres and Ibrahimovic?
Because those are like legit strikers, like doing shit. You give them you give them a chance. They're like.
Well, it depends what Fernando Torres you're talking about. If you're talking about Liverpool Fernando Torres, yeah, the Chelsea Fernando Torres was missing sitters after sitters after sitters.
Yeah, but we're talking the one at Liverpool, man. That was for me.
Oh, well, you still got top strikers like that. What are you talking about? Luis Suarez, Karim Benzema.
Yeah, see, that's another scary one. Like Luis Suarez. Like Premier League wise, man, Van Persie and Suarez, nothing else compared.
Yeah, Alan Shearer, Sergio Aguero.
But we're talking like that era.
Aguero's is better than Van Persie was.
Aguero, yeah, Aguero for sure.
Aguero, Alan Shearer, Wayne Rooney, Ronaldo was there briefly. You got a lot of.
I don't know what happened with Wayne Rooney, man. Biggest decline I've ever.
Well, but yeah, because he got overplayed by Ferguson is what happened. He burst onto the scene at 16, 17, and he was instantly being overplayed, played through injuries a hell of a lot by Ferguson when he had his metatarsal and he had so many other injuries, and he sacrificed his England career really, which is why he never performed at tournaments, is because Ferguson would overplay him through these injuries to get vital points so that they could carry on romping the league or carry on winning titles the way they were. So he really sacrificed his international career for Man United, Wayne Rooney.
Yeah, pretty much.
And with players that come on the scene that early, they don't tend to last that long. Like there's no...
Well, see, that's the thing with this is the one thing about England that pissed me off, because I'm like, you know, you look at Dele Alli, you look at
that's just
Ross Barkley. Look at
you can't compare them to Wayne Rooney though.
No. Rooney, like, but that's the thing, like, you know, like, but you have some of these players that could be that level. But
Dele Alli could have been a Frank Lampard level. Wayne Rooney, when he first burst onto the scene, people forget how much talent this guy had at 17. he could have, like, Ronaldo went on to be what Ronaldo did. At that time, when Rooney was first coming through, he had a lot higher prospects than Ronaldo did. He was meant to be our Lionel Messi. That's how good Wayne Rooney could have been. And yeah, he was a phenomenal player. But he could have been Ballon d'Or level. Like, he in all reality probably should have been Ballon d'Or level.
Depends. I don't know. I think about that, but like,
yeah, when he first burst through, the technical ability he had.
He had like
EDL Rooney was a sight to behold. EDL Rooney was top level. You don't know what EDL Rooney is. That's a reference to the people out there.
I mean, I don't know. Like one of the players I always like admire was Carlos Tevez.
Carlos Tevez was again
the best. Like, I mean, I feel like Tevez like accomplished what he needed to do. The player that I wish, like, there's a couple players I wish I could like injury free everything, right? Just see where they're about.
Bullshit.
One was Abu Dhabi. The other one was Mario Balotelli.
Balotelli wasn't really injury. Balotelli was just
but he was good though.
He was composed. Like, I thought you were going to go for Jack Wilshere.
He could tap the damn ball and like it goes to the like the speed that ball goes to the net is insane.
Yeah, but Wilshere was one of the creme de la creme. He never really came.
Yeah, Wilshere was. I don't know. Like with Wilshere, obviously, like his style. I think he could have been like. He could probably do what. He was kind of like. He's kind of like Pedri now, right? Basically.
Oh, he was better than Pedri was.
I mean,
when he first broke through. But then that could be another debate of English people hyping up our players a lot higher than.
No, he was good. He was good because he ran games.
He did. That Barcelona game was the big one. But anyway, what an episode it has been. It's 11:56 now. We have strayed off a little bit off topic a little bit at the end, but that's no problem. We're having a good conversation about football and about other things. It has been the first episode of the Pioneers of Sport podcast. If anyone has made it all the way through to the end, let me know by typing in shawarma in the comment section down below if you have managed to make it this far. And of course, I said I'll be giving you prizes. I'll give you, when I see you in person, I'll give you a good pat on the back, and we'll say that much. But it has been a pleasure speaking to you. We covered a whole range of things, more specifically around the Americanization of the sport, and of course, taking a good look at Leeds and the San Francisco 49ers. It has been an amazing couple of hour chat we had here. We did originally, it was a little bit flustered at the start because we had another 15-minute stream or so, which was doing well, and then obviously someone turned my internet off and that all went kaput. But it has been a pleasure speaking to all of you guys there. And speaking to you, Bargav, thank you very much for coming along. I hope to have you again very soon.
Yeah, we'll talk about the World Cup next week. I mean,
absolutely. We will be back for a special World Cup stream. We're going to have a lot of people in for that one on Tuesday to talk about predictions for everything and hopefully get some representatives of different nations to speak about it.
By the way, like, who do you want in the draw tomorrow?
Who do I want in the draw? I want Poland, I want Ecuador, and I want just because my mates support those teams really, so I think it'd be quite cool if we all had one of our teams in it.
I would love a US England.
That'd be crazy. I
mean, the chances would be like the other groups are like US versus Spain versus Brazil. No chance. Yeah. US versus Argentina.
England are better than Spain and Brazil. So if there's one team you want to avoid, it's England. I tell you that much, mate. Because we are the real deal, man. We're the real deal. We're gonna clap everyone. We're talking a prime Calvin Phillips, Jude Bellingham, Patrick Bamford, Harry Kane, Raheem Sterling, Jack the real deal Grealish. We have the best players in European football, the best manager to ever grace the international scene, Sir Gareth Southgate. And if you think you even have a chance of getting even half a goal against us, then you're delusional. With John Stones, Ben White and Harry Maguire securing the back. And yeah, a lot of people slag off Harry Maguire, but Harry Maguire for Man U and Harry Maguire for England are two completely different kettle of fishes, baby. And yeah, the real deal indeed, Flames.
That happens tomorrow. England plays US England in the same group. I'm happy with
Mate,
that.
we will slap and clap and mash those cheeks for sure. And I ain't talking Adam. But like I said, thank you guys for watching. Real deal. Cheers, lads. Good show. Thank you very much, Bremner's Ghost. 8Q Quasi. Shout out to you. Shout out to James, Stu, MC, Nitish, the crazy Gooner. What other drillers have we got in here? Logan Batterson, Sebastian, David, Roger Black, Miss Molina. And of course, I know there's a few you legends that were in the last stream before it went kaput. Shout out to you legends as well. But it has been a pleasure. We'll be back next week with another episode of the Pioneers of Sport podcast, because as we know here, anyone that joins the family by hitting that subscription bell has instantly joined the most forward-thinking pioneers of the beautiful game, fight game, and any sport known to mankind. So it won't just be football, there'll be all kinds of stuff on this weekly episodic podcast. Let me know if there's any guests you'd like to see as well. But just once again, I'd like to thank you, Bargav. Is there anything you want to say to the people before we go off air?
Thank you for everybody being here, like Nitesh, everybody, like everybody here, like it was a pleasure. We're definitely gonna have a fun stream next week too.
It was a pleasure indeed. Thank you guys very much. Like I said, I'll see you very, very soon. Another South Stand signings coming out tomorrow. If anyone hasn't seen the latest third week of football, I highly recommend you do check it out. Let's just say bit of paradigms and disparities between Ben Foster, the cycling GK, and Conor McGregor, and quite a lot of stuff that happened that week. It was a very eventful week of football, so if you haven't seen that, I would recommend that you check that out down below. How we doing, Lyle? Wow, what a time for you to join. What a time for you to join. We are finishing up here, but it will go straight into a public video the second this thing has finished, if you do want to check it out. And I am going to try and put it on Spotify as well. I'll let you guys know about that. But this will be a weekly episodic pod, like I said. Thank you guys for watching. I'm sorry I didn't get to chat to you a bit more, Lyle, because you have just got here. But I will see you very soon. Like I said, another South Stand stories coming tomorrow. And of course, on Saturday, we've got the big one, Leeds United versus Southampton. Be there or be square at 3 p.m. or should I say 2:30 p.m. sharp on the dot. But for now, guys, thank you guys very much for watching. It's been a pleasure, and I'll see you very, very soon. Oh, man, that is